Okay, so thank you for being here. We are on day 5 of module 1. Module 1, as we know, was about know yourself, grow yourself. We understood a bit about the biology of how the brain works. We identified core beliefs, understood where core beliefs come from, how do we develop them. And the sort of last bit of it is about the observer, which is that how we can be witness to whatever it is that we are experiencing, whether in body, mind, emotions, and using that skill of being more aware, um, how we can create a distance between ourselves and our experience. So we don't identify as strongly with what is happening with us, around us. And we are able to be more objective, almost like a witness to whatever it is that we are experiencing. So, with that, as we do, um, I'd like you to really take a moment to come to the session, perhaps taking just a minute to settle down, start to experience your breath, and becoming familiar with the breath, familiar with the body, relaxing, and setting an intention for our session today. And since our session today is about becoming aware of this observer inside us, perhaps intending to become more connected to this part of you. And through the session, we'll try and understand the difference between awareness and identity. So we spend a lot of our time, most of our lives, sometimes completely identified with what is happening inside of me. So, for instance, a thought appears and we become the thought, or an emotion appears, like anger appears, and we feel like we become anger. A fear appears, we become fear. So, what's happened is there's no space between awareness and experience. And an example could be, we tend to do something wrong or a mistake happens, quick to think, I am failing. That thought, emotion follows, behavior follows, belief strengthens, and this automatic change just keeps going on. So, with awareness, we can interrupt this almost de facto way of operating that um, we create. So, what do we mean by the observer? It's not something that we are trying to create. It's something that we begin to inhabit, or awareness is something that we begin to experience, to notice. So every time we catch ourselves overthinking, the catching of it is an example of the observer. When we catch ourselves, okay, I am overthinking, the observer is present. Every time we realize I'm getting triggered right now, the observer is present. Every time, you can notice, say, a belief that's not been working for you, and you can question it, or or you can watch yourself falling into the same pattern or repeating the same thought. Again, the observer is present. So the observer then is what? It's just this awareness that's been there all along, but perhaps we've not utilized it. So when we say we become more aware, it's when we catch ourselves, okay, I am feeling this way, or okay, I'm repeating this thought. When we do that, there is some distance between me being that and me doing that. So, this observation is what creates space. And then the narrative of how we talk to ourselves can change. So then instead of, and we've done that, when we were trying to work on emotions on day three, instead of, saying to yourself or believing I am anxious, awareness can say that anxiety is present. Or instead of saying I'm broken, awareness can say, I can see that pain is moving through me, or I'm experiencing pain. Or instead of believing and saying and repeating to yourself I'm a failure, awareness can say that, yeah, this painful thought is arising. Or I am again telling myself that I'm a failure, I can change this. And this space can change everything within us. So um when we started talking about module 1, which is know yourself, grow yourself, we were exploring the gap between a stimulus and a response. So we said that, okay, something happens and immediately a part of the brain activates itself because it's trying to fight or trying to flight from that experience, and there is no space between that. Immediately, the brain is triggered, it wants to protect you, it's alert, it's active. um, and we also tried to work on how to create some space between stimulus and response. But today, what we want to do is we want to widen that gap. So yeah, we've learned, okay, there is something that's happening, we are responding, we can pause. How can we make that gap much bigger than, simply taking a moment and breathing and choosing? And we do that with awareness. Without awareness, there's a trigger, there's a reaction. With awareness, there is a trigger, there is noticing, and then there is choice. So, uh, if if we want to master ourselves, our minds, how we behave, what we think, what we do, it it doesn't mean that we're going to control ourselves or learn to monitor everything we are doing. It just it just simply means being conscious of how we are feeling, what is helpful, what is harmful, as we did with beliefs yesterday. And sometimes it can be misunderstood because we can think that, okay, if I become too conscious, if I become too aware, will it detach me from life? Awareness does not mean that. It does not mean that we become cold or emotionless or disconnected. It just means that this present moment is much more alive to me, and I can experience life without constantly being consumed by my emotions or constantly being feeling like I'm drowning inside my experiences. So yeah, as human beings, we will continue to feel all our emotions. We will continue to feel anger. It's not like I'm never going to feel angry again, but we can feel anger without destruction, without saying, doing, feeling things that can have disproportionate effects on others and myself. I can feel sadness without collapsing in the sadness. I can feel fear without being paralyzed by that fear, and I can feel emotions without losing my identity. So the emotion that I'm feeling does not become my identity. Anxiety does not mean I'm anxious. I can let things come to me and let them pass. So we can still feel deeply and we can still remain aware. Both can coexist. So if you've been, here through the week, or if you've anyway, just gotten ever a chance to think about it. Maybe a question to reflect on could be, um, what changes for you? Or what has changed for you? When you begin to observe yourself more consciously, what kind of patterns become more visible? I'll repeat that. When you start, if you've ever, say, observed yourself, even in the past, You've been more conscious of what you've been feeling or doing. What patterns have become more visible to you? For instance, it could be self criticism. You could have realized that, oh my God, I'm catching myself and speaking negatively about myself. And this is something we practiced yesterday in our session, which was that, we'll catch ourselves when we find ourselves using harsh words about us. So it could be that, it could be overthinking, it could be, being triggered by something very specific. It could be people pleasing. So, whatever it is for you, you could either share it with everyone here or just make a note of it for yourself. What patterns become more visible to you when you start observing yourself?
I'll speak. This
Yes,
is
please.
Patricia. I am calling in from Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
I have noticed that my nervous system is wrecked. Um, for the past 3 weeks, I've recognized, and I know the why, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm now observing that my body is pretty consistently in a fight or flight or this survival mode energy. Like I'm constantly managing internal and external crises. And I've thought about that a lot over the past few years. I've had a lot of death and trauma that have happened and that are very stacked. In probably 2.5, 3 years, my mother died, my dog died, I lost my job, random relocation, lost my marriage. There's a lot of things that happened. And I've thought about those things, but I've not been aware of my body. So as of the past few weeks, I kind of paused and said, oh, I noticed my body today. So I've been noticing my body. And as you mentioned before, for me, in that noticing and that awareness, it is about being non judgmental and giving myself grace. And so instead of saying, like, oh my God, you're a mess because your nervous system is a mess, I paused and said, what do I need to give my body? What do I need to give myself? So,
Thanks. Thanks a lot for sharing that, Patricia. I mean, it takes courage to share such difficult experiences with everyone. But as you rightly said, the when the mind is feeling, say, weaker or distressed, the body can help, and vice versa. So, as you're saying, when we observe even the body, when we feel like we are carrying stress, pain, stiffness in the body, just relaxing that can have great benefits for even how we are feeling in the mind, in our emotional being. So, this is the power of observation. Sometimes, just giving time to connect with this feeling of, our entire being, whether it's, and we'll be doing that in our practice today, observing how we are feeling, observing our thoughts. And it's sort of surprising at times, when I could be talking to someone and ask them, "Are you stressed?" And they would almost like take a minute to assess, if as if they don't know they are stressed or not. And the answer sometimes, is a surprise for them also. Yeah, I am stressed. So just taking time from whatever is happening around us to give us that grace, give us that, connection within the self, can itself be healing. Because yeah, we cannot control things sometimes that are happening around us, but the awareness of what's happening within can hold us. It can become our anchor. So again, it's not about being perfect, and this is not about never feeling difficult things, or never reacting. It's just about becoming more aware, because that's the door through which, we'll all have to pass for transformation to begin. So yeah, thoughts will still come, emotions will rise, we'll continue to repeat old stories, but now we'll do it with awareness. So um maybe we can now do a short practice in which we'll learn to connect with ourselves. So I'll invite you to all sit comfortably. And if it feels okay, you can close your eyes or just lower your gaze, soften it, and then finding the breath, noticing the quality of the breath. And in this practice, all we will be doing is learning to connect with ourselves. We're not trying to change anything. So, meeting ourselves where we are. This is what my breath is like today. It could be short or long, it could be deep or shallow. Noticing the breath without any judgment. It could be even or a bit broken, maybe scattered. Noticing the places in your body where you feel your breath. Maybe you feel it more in your chest today. Maybe you feel it in your belly, the sides of your body. Noticing how the in breath is cooler than the out breath. And taking a moment again to feel grateful for the breath as it is. And if at any point you find yourself distracted, you can bring yourself back to your breath and come back to the practice. And now running your awareness through your body. So, a great practice is to scan your body head to toe, quickly running through it to find if there are any places that feel tight, stressed. And as you do that, relaxing your shoulders. If you're holding your shoulders tightly, just loosening, letting it go, relaxing the areas around the eyes, relaxing the stomach, belly area. We can tend to hold a lot of emotion in the belly. And again, without judgment, just noticing the body, however it is today. Giving thanks to the body for carrying us through life. Using only kind words for the body. We can be harsh towards the body. And then noticing now the quality of your mind. What is happening in your mind right now? What kind of thoughts? How is the mind? It could be worrying, it could be planning, it could be restless, it could be thinking about the past, maybe something's bothering you. It could be calm and still. How is my mind today? And we also know that it's again the quality of the mind to change. So if I'm feeling a certain way right now, thinking about certain things, we know that those thoughts can pass. So without attaching yourself to anything, our practice is more about watching what's happening. So you're witnessing the mind do its work. And feeling grateful for all that the mind does for us. We can tend to blame the mind, but all it's trying to do all the time is to protect us. And now noticing what is happening in my heart. What am I feeling today? What's the quality of my feeling? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling happy? Am I feeling enthusiastic, joyful? Is there any sadness? Whatever it is, just trying to assess for yourself. How is my heart today? And again, we do it without any judgment. No feeling is good or bad. We're just trying to really deeply connect with whatever there is inside, which changes. And one more time, just extending gratitude for everything that we are feeling, we felt, for the heart, for the whole range of emotions that we embody, that we experience. And with that, slowly bringing some movement to your toes and fingers. And if your eyes are closed, opening your eyes. Maybe giving yourself a slight stretch in the body. And then coming back to again a practice where I would like you to think about, today I will practice awareness, especially when, and you can fill that for yourself. So you can either type it in the chat if you want to share it with everyone or make a note of it. Today, I'll practice awareness, especially when, for instance, you want to practice awareness when you criticize yourself or when you feel emotionally activated, when something triggers you, when you feel anxious, when you're feeling tired or stressed. So that's the homework, to identify what you want to be more aware about, and then to actually put that into your experience as you go through the day, as you go through tomorrow, your week, your months. uh, Today I will practice awareness, especially when, and then you know um, as you start becoming more conscious of thoughts, feelings, reactions, beliefs, mm, you'll perhaps also start to understand what happens when you observe the experience instead of fighting it. And then sometimes deeper questions come in. Who is noticing the thought? What is changing when awareness is entering the moment? So, so what you're trying to do is, we're trying to, as we've been, trying to understand through the session today, that the skills that we are developing through all of this is the skill of observation. And what does that do? It creates a gap, it creates space between me and the experience that I am having, um, the experience I'm having outside of me, and but also the experience that I'm having inside of me, because now I'm becoming more aware of what I am experiencing. And just that awareness creates nervous system regulation. What it also does is, it gives us agency. We get back our power to choose, and we choose consciously rather than feeling like we are victims to uh, to whatever is outside. And not just that, to also our own beliefs and our own habits. We hear ourselves sometimes say, I am like this. I tend to get tired. I tend to react when this happens, or I tend to get angry when this happens. And we sound like, it's not in our control, we can't help it, we are like this. But we can change that. And this is what, this entire week, this module has been about. It's a beautiful, topic to think about, to take home, to practice, know yourself. And by knowing yourself, can you grow into this beautiful person with agency on whatever it is that, you know we are experiencing, and also our reactions. So with that, um, I'd like to end the talking. And if anyone has any questions, or you'd like to share something about either today or through the week, then this is the time. Please feel free to do so. And if not, then yeah, I'd ask you to take back, just, if nothing else, take back the belief that you can change whatever it is that you want to change. And we are not victims. We are not at our own mercy. We can, we all can change. We can grow. And the first step towards that is the belief. And the second is, just taking some time to be with ourselves, connect with ourselves, give ourselves time, and watch ourselves, whatever it is we are experiencing, without being harsh, without judgment, with great kindness and compassion. So thank you everyone. And tomorrow again, same time, mm, we'll be hosting MCD Live, and see you soon. Thanks a lot.